Welcome back, everyone. Good evening. Good evening to all of you joining us today as we celebrate, as we continue the celebration of D Free Global Foundation's 20th anniversary. We are super excited to have you all with us. We're in our new platform, StreamYard. And so, all of you who join and those who are joining on YouTube, welcome and good evening. Hello. Yes, I see somebody is familiar with our process in the chat. We want to know who's here with us and where you are calling in from, where you're logging in from. So please, good evening. Good evening. I already see our team in Ghana. So hello to you all. And we want to make sure that you join the chat. Let us know who you are and where you're from. Tonight is a super special night. But before we go into it, we have to acknowledge today is September 11th. And so we do pause to acknowledge that tonight. For those who have been affected, I know it's a national thing, but here in New Jersey and New York and Connecticut, it really hits close to home. And so we acknowledge that tonight. But this evening, we come together because we're going to have a Say Yes to No Debt fireside chat with Dr. Soaries and some special friends that we brought together so we can have some real-time conversation, get real-time answers and solutions about pressing financial needs. We get calls all the time from folks that are going through, and so we want to make sure that we acknowledge that. And in his lovely lavender vest, I have with us the CEO.
Oh, it's lovely now, right? It's lovely. You were hating on it Saturday.
And chair, Dr. DeForest B. Soaries Jr. Good evening, sir.
What a hypocrite! You're a Baptist preacher, and you're a complete hypocrite. You were hating on my vest. I wore it tonight because there's nothing you can do about it. But you were hating on the very vest on Saturday, folks. Saturday,
context, yes.
I brought my little vest with me, and I asked Reverend Sutton to come, not because she's a glamour consultant, not because she's a stylist, but because she's my friend. She's my partner. She has my back all the time.
Yes.
And she dumped me on Saturday. She flipped on Saturday. She went with the crowd. The crowd cried, crucified that sweater. And Reverend Sutton was with the crowd. I can't believe. So now it's a lovely.
No. I'm so grateful because there are people in the chat that witnessed this abomination. And Michael Pennick says he loves that purple vest on that Sigma. So you understand what we're dealing with. But hello, everybody. I see everybody logging in. I see Lori from Delaware. It's good to see you. Let's see. Faye Lewis. Yep.
I'm going to Baltimore in the beginning of October for an event, and while I'm there, I'm gonna invite our people to have a small meeting with me because we'd like to bring one of our events to Baltimore next year. So, Baltimore, Darnell, hopefully I can see you when I get to Baltimore.
Darnell thinks you're celebrating the Ravens, so
it doesn't matter. It's all things purple. Whoever likes purple, lavender, I'm with you tonight.
And we have Princess Priscilla with us from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hello, ma'am. It's good to see you as well. Let me see who else is in the chat. Yes, Angie, we are going through so much over this purple vest, indeed. Yannick, hey, we know Yannick. Hello.
Y'all don't know how much hatred I had to absorb on Saturday with this very vest.
Oh, oh, wait, we have someone from Georgia here. Hey, Asha. And hello, Benny from Accra, Ghana. We have, everybody's logging in tonight because everybody wants to get this hot off the presses information. So what we want to do is encourage you to ask your questions in the chat. That's why that chat is active and open. We want to know who's here, but we also want to know if you have a question, even if it's not on behalf of yourself. You may know somebody who's going through something. We want to make sure that you interact with us tonight in the chat because, again, we have some very special guests. Dr. Soaries, did you want me to introduce them or did you want to introduce them tonight?
No, I got a few words to say and then I'll introduce them. Okay. First of all, thank you, Reverend Sutton, for your presence. I covered your presence. You are a great partner. In fact, today I got an email from one of our team members who said, I'm so glad Reverend Sutton's going to be there next Thursday because she brings better energy, just shade on me. Just, I'm the only other person here. But all of a sudden, you bring the energy. I guess I bring the age, you bring the energy. But you bring energy, you bring authenticity, and I'm grateful for that. Let me say a word about all of you who have joined us. Thank you for joining us. If you were here last week, we had a great start. Thank you, Yannick. She loves my purple sweater. We had a great week last week, and we had over 70 people, I think, start their
I think over 80.
training. Is it 80? Uh,
Yes.
that means that 80 individuals are going to be able to go back to their sorority, back to their church, back to their community-based organization, back to their company, or back to their family, and lead people through the discussion around financial freedom, starting with getting out of debt, saying yes to no debt. So thank all of you. Thank those who came again. Thank all of you who are here for the first time. And I also have to thank people who have bought books. People have been buying books, not just individual books, but people have been buying books by the box. And so I'm grateful to all of you who have bought the books. If you don't have your book yet, you can go to dfree.com and you can. And so I'm grateful to all of you who have bought the books.
Yes, we want to make sure, because I know that they're selling very fast. So we want to make sure that they're not sold out. So if you
Right.
can grab it as soon as possible. Elmwood just ordered 15 more. So we're excited
Exactly.
about all of those who are logging in.
So I'm great. I don't take that for granted. Thank you so much. The other thing you mentioned that I have to say a word about is September 11th. You know, on
Yes, sir.
September 10th, which was yesterday, the nation was hit by a great tragedy of a young man, dynamic leader, conservative in his own right, and many people in our community did not agree with him on many things, but nobody who's human agrees with taking the life of a 31-year-old father and husband.
Yeah.
And as the nation reels from this, and as this assassination really exacerbates pre-existing racial and political divides, I'm hoping that the spirit of 9/11 2001 can re-emerge. You know, I was Secretary of State, Sutton, on
Yes.
September 11, 2001. And so I was very close to the activities. I went to New York that day to coordinate New Jersey's response to New York's needs. And I gave the official speech to state employees. We had over 60,000 state employees who were concerned about their own security. But the day after September 11th, September 12, 2001, Black and white, Democrat, Republican, conservative, and liberal came together. And in Washington, every member of Congress stood on the steps of the Capitol, joined hands and joined arms and sang "God Bless America." So in response to the external threat and the external attack in 2001, the country came together. In response to an internal tragedy, the country seems to be more divided than it was. At least 10 HBCUs, historically Black colleges, universities, had to close today because of threats that made it unsafe to have class. And so we as a community, we as leaders of faith, we as human beings should be striving to rise above the temptation for retaliation and hatred, saying mean things. We can disagree. Grandma said this in church. We can disagree without being disagreeable. And no one should take joy in the assassination of a young man. So I had to say that on September 11th because I was there in 2001. Now tonight, we're going to do two things. First of all, we're going to introduce you to two very special people. And I'll introduce them as soon as I say thing number two. Thing number two, as Reverend Sutton said, we want you to do what we're going to do. We're going to share with you the kinds of questions that we typically get. I get questions almost every day about finance. On the D-Free community website, people are sharing with each other questions. And so if you are the kind of person that people come to and ask questions about finance, about auto loans, about mortgages, about credit cards, share with us the kinds of questions that you're getting. And what we will do is share with you the kinds of resources that D-Free has and the kind of answers that I give people when I'm out on the road. Reverend Sutton gives people when she's doing training. Now, the two things that we have learned in 20 years is that, number one, our community needs to talk to professionals. That's number one. We need to talk to financial professionals. We get too much of our information from the barbershop, the beauty shop, and from now TikTok. We need to talk to financial professionals. You don't want a plane that's flown by an unlicensed pilot. You don't want your hair done by an unlicensed cosmetologist. You don't want your teeth fixed by an unlicensed dentist. And you don't want your money advised by an unlicensed non-professional. What we're going to do tonight is introduce you to one of the many financial professionals that work with us. And she's going to explain what many of you have asked us, and that is, what can I expect when I meet with one of your financial professionals? Second thing we've learned is that over 85% of us are in debt, and some of us are in so much debt that we can't sleep at night. It disrupts our work. It comes between us and our significant relationships. And we have a partnership with an organization called Green Path, and Green Path is the referral of choice. And so what we have tonight is Sister Amber from Green Path and Sister Regina from Prudential, and they're going to come on and help us explain to you what to expect when you go to our website and you tell us, look, I need help. I'm in debt, or I just inherited $200,000. I don't know what to do. So welcome Amber Miller from Green Path and Regina Walker from Prudential. Thank you for being here, ladies.
Yes, good evening, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for having me.
Great. So Amber, we'll start with you. When we do our facilitator training, we tell them that not only do they need a book and a workbook in their session, they need tissues, because people are so stressed that often we can't get through one of our lessons without having to console people and hug people and pray with people. So Amber, when they come to us, we say, we have a partner called Green Path, and we're going to connect you to them. So explain now what happens next and what people can expect when they talk to one of the Green Path staff people.
Yeah, financial counseling, I've always said, is the most challenging, most important work that I can imagine doing, because you are talking to people who have had a lot of really difficult things happen many times. A lot of times these are things out of their control, right? That are leading to them getting to this point in their finances where they are in over their heads, or are just struggling, or are just unsure what to do next, or what options they have available to them. So here at Green Path, we are really here to help people figure out where they're at. Sometimes that's the first hurdle to overcome, is really getting that lay of the land and figuring out where you're at in your financial situation. But more importantly than that, where you want to be. What are your goals beyond just resolving that crisis or getting out of that paycheck to paycheck mode? Maybe even beyond getting that debt paid off. That's an important goal, but that's not the end of the story, right? What would not having that debt mean for you? What goals would you like to be able to reach beyond that? And then we're really going to come alongside of you to figure out how to get you from where you're at to where you want to be. So education, we want to equip you. We want to empower you. We're going to talk you through your options and make sure you have all the information you need to know that you have confidently explored all of your options and you're making the decision on what path forward makes the most sense for you based on your situation, based on the goals that you have to get where you want to be.
So Amber, I got a question from someone last week, and the question was this. He said, I have 3 credit cards, and I'm wondering if you would recommend that I consolidate my debt and turn it into one loan. I'm sure that when you talk about options, that's an option that's good for some people and not so good for others. Talk about that.
Absolutely. That's one of the more common options that people know about, right? If you've got a bank or a credit union that you've got a relationship with, they're probably talking to you about that. And that's a common option. And that absolutely can be a really good fit for some people. And if it saves you money on interest, if it saves you money on that payment, if it can give you that end date, there's a lot of value to that. But not everyone's eligible for a loan, right? If you're in a spot where that debt has impacted your credit score or your debt to income ratio, that may not be an option for you, or it may not be an ideal option if it's not saving you much on that interest or those payments, depending on the amount of debt and the term you're able to get. So that's one of the things that we absolutely look at. We explore and see if this feels like it could be a good option. We'll talk it through, help you weigh those pros and cons. There's no one size fits all solution for everybody. So we look at your unique situation, your goals, and see, does a loan make sense? If not, here's some other options that are possibilities that we want to help you understand if it could be a good option for you.
So now, Amber, Green Path is a nonprofit organization, correct?
Correct.
But there are some solutions that come with fees if people choose to opt into those, right?
So one option here at GreenPath, all of our counseling is absolutely free and confidential. We're going to talk you through your options. We're going to help you figure out what plan makes sense. That could be maybe doing something on your own. You know, if you're in a spot where we can get a budget in place and you could do a snowball or an avalanche, we'll strategize that with you and set you up for success there. Maybe it is a loan, maybe it is a balance transfer or one of those other options. But if none of those are a good fit for your situation and goals, GreenPath does offer what's called a debt management program that we can explore with you to see if this would be a good option. We are a nonprofit. No one is earning commission or trying to push you towards this if it's not a good fit for your situation. But if it is an option, we want you to have the information you need to determine if it's the right option for you. So it's paying debt back in full. We are not negotiating the balances. We're not doing, settlement or debt relief. Some of those things you may have heard horror stories about, those for-profit companies out there. We're getting that debt paid back in full, but we're working with your creditors directly to get things like lower interest rates, better repayment terms, the ability to make it more manageable, to get that debt paid back in full, typically within 3 to 5 years is the time frame of getting that debt repaid. And if you were to enroll in a debt management plan, there is typically a small maintenance fee involved with that. It's regulated by state law based on where you live. Right now, the average monthly fee on debt management plans that we're managing works out to be $31 a month. But people are saving an average of $199 a month on their payments on a debt management plan compared to doing it on their own, and are saving more than $29,000 in average on interest by getting those interest rate reductions through the debt management program. So our goal is to get the fee far outweighed by the benefits, right? Again, we're a nonprofit. That's just helping us cover the cost, facilitate that repayment, support you. We're not trying to get rich off of that. And if that fee is not a win, that's okay. Let's come up with a different solution, but that is an option that we'll explore with you if it makes sense.
So Reverend Sutton, what I wanted to do with you is to help have Amber do yes or no answers to specific questions about the type of debt they can help people work through. And then we're going to end with the actual mechanics of how we actually work, how we connect people to GreenPath, and then what the process looks and feels like. So Reverend Sutton, you name the kind of debt that people come to us with. And then Amber, you say yes or no. Yes, we can help people work through their options with that kind of debt, or no, we don't deal with that kind of debt. Okay.
Okay, that's great because we have a lot of questions in the chat, so I'm going to try and paraphrase them. How about
don't get to the questions yet.
But here's a question: tax debt.
Right, tax debt. Amber, yes or no?
Yes, not with the debt management plan, but yes, we can talk about options.
Good. So if you have problems with taxes and you're behind in your taxes, and we send you to GreenPath, know that somebody there is qualified with that. Okay, Reverend?
Okay. Credit card debt.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the big monster, credit card debt. Reverend?
What about repossessed cars?
Yes, absolutely.
So you can help them before the car gets repossessed, but what about after the car gets repossessed?
Yeah, so we might not be able to get that car back for you, right? But if you have that balance that you still owe, sometimes they sell it at auction and there's still a balance that you owe that needs to get taken care of. We can help out with that.
Great.
Medical debt is another thing they come to us with.
Yes, that's another big one. Yes, absolutely.
The number one cause of bankruptcy is medical debt.
Wow. Yes. Student loan debt is another one.
Yes. We are limited on what we can do with, especially if it's federal debt. The government kind of calls the shots on that, but we can walk you through your options, point you in the direction of figuring out your options, review that budget, make sure you've got a plan for those. Absolutely.
Yeah, some student loan debt, folks, is government, federal. Others are private, and I've discovered, folks, that a lot of people don't even know if their loan is federal or private. And that's where you start. You start by understanding the reality of your debt and then having people help you walk through your options, because options are different depending on your reality. Reverend?
And then home loans, home foreclosures, or loans against homes.
Yes, all of our counselors are certified by HUD as housing counselors as well. So we do a lot of work with, credit card debt, but another big part of the work we do is foreclosure prevention, eviction prevention, housing counseling. So Absolutely. If you are struggling with your mortgage, even if you're not behind yet, if you're just seeing the writing on the wall and you know you're going to be behind soon if something doesn't change, reach out. Let's explore your options. Let's get a plan in place. Having that roof over your head is number one priority. And the sooner we can explore options, the more options you're likely to have available to you.
Yeah, and folks, as a HUD certified counseling agency, what that also does, it means that all of the mortgage lenders and all of the mortgage servicers recognize GreenPath and take them seriously.
Yes, we'll make the phone call to the mortgage company with you. If that's an intimidating conversation, we'll do that three-way call. We'll talk to them. We have to let them know that we're on the call because they have, rules there. And they sit up a little bit straighter in many cases, knowing that there's somebody who knows what they're talking about on the line there on that call. So we'll do that with you and press for answers, listen, talk through what they're explaining to you, and come up with a path forward right there with you.
Yes. And finally, we run into this new form of debt. There are people that have been involved in Afterpay and Klarna and all of these things that help people to pay things in increments, but then they get overwhelmed because they have so many of these little payments going in different places. Are you able to help in that area as well?
Yes, we just hosted a webinar on that very topic literally yesterday, and that's something that our counselors are hearing a big uptick in requests and needs for. Also, some of those buy now, pay laters are going to start reporting to credit. That's new. They haven't been doing that, and that's going to be starting. So absolutely something we can help out with for sure.
When Reverend Sutton and I do these presentations, she seems to know a little too much about all those little loans. I don't know how she's learned about all of that.
Investigative work.
But I have one more debt question. Suppose cousin George. Suppose I owe cousin George some money. Can you help me with cousin George?
That's a little bit trickier, right? We don't know cousin George. We can help you with your budget. We can help you make sure you've got money to pay cousin George back. But that's a little bit more between you and him.
All right, because sometimes it's kind of intimidating going to your cousin because they stop speaking to you. Once they owe you money, they get amnesia and they don't come to Thanksgiving dinner. They ghost you, as they say. So listen, Amber, thank you so much. Here are the mechanics. Now, when we talk to Regina, we have a different kind of arrangement. But when people come to us and we say to them, you're going to meet someone from GreenPath, what's the next step?
Yeah, so you'll reach out to us, give us a call, and the first person you'll talk to is a member of our intake team, and they're just going to get a little bit of information from you to build a profile. Let us know that you heard about us through D-Free. We'll get you linked up there to that so that we can provide reporting back to our friends at D-Free to just let them know not the specifics of your situation, but share information, share numbers of how many people we've been able to help in partnership. So we're not going to be, calling anybody up and sharing your business with them, but we do share the numbers of people that we've been able to support back.
And all of your work is done by phone, correct?
Correct. At this time, yes. And so they'll just get a little bit of information, phone number, address, just that basic contact information, get a little bit of an idea of what you're looking for, and then they'll transfer you right on over to a counselor right then and there. You do not have to have an appointment. We know it can take a little bit of courage to pick up the phone and make that call, so we want to activate on that right away. You can call us tonight after we get off this webinar. We're here until 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. So if you want to talk to somebody, once you get off, stay for Regina's session and the rest of this section. But after we're done, you'll still have time that you could call tonight.
What is the phone number?
That is a great question. We have a bunch of different phone numbers.
The website is on the screen right now.
The website is on the screen, and whatever phone number is on that website, we have different phone numbers that help track the referrals. So go to the website and call the phone number that's on there. And I'll pull that up and I'll put it in the chat as well.
All right, great. Amber Miller, thank you so much. You've been a great help to us, both at events and behind the scenes. You've made arrangements to work with us. I know Aubrey McCoy works directly with you, and we'll be talking to you about a new partnership. I hope she's mentioned it to you. We're exploring an expanded partnership with GreenPath that I'm very excited about discussing. So thank you so much to GreenPath. We met you through Prudential. Our friends at Prudential referred us to GreenPath because Prudential had vetted GreenPath. They had worked with GreenPath, and they said, we're sure they can help you, and they've been right. So speaking of Prudential, we have Regina with us, who is, I want to say, our favorite Prudential person. but I won't say favorite, but she certainly hangs with us more than anybody else. She's traveled to North Carolina with us, and we've been with her in Detroit. So, Regina, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, and actually, you're going to join us in 2 weeks also. So that means you are our favorite. Let's start with let's start with where we ended up with Amber. When people call us, I'll tell you a quick story. When Reverend Sutton and I launched the women's program in Newark, led by the First Lady, Newark Women Moving Forward, we had a big meeting, about 70, 80 women, to give them a sense of what D-Free was and what the campaign was. And at the end of the meeting, a woman walked up to me and she said, Reverend, I just got out of jail and I'm homeless. And someone from the mayor's office was there. And I said, okay, let me connect you to resources that the city has for homeless people. And then she said, and I have $200,000 in cash. And I said, okay, let me connect you with a Prudential person who can make sure that $200,000 doesn't disappear in 3 weeks. In other words, you never know what kind of assets people have. You never know what kind of potential people have. And so if I refer someone like that to a Prudential financial advisor, and it may not be Prudential, it could be Wells Fargo, could be JP Morgan Chase, because you all work with all kinds of folks. What will you do with someone that D-Free sends you as a financial professional?
So, prime example, one of the young ladies that you sent over to me probably 4 or 5 months ago, we've been having a conversation because she is retiring from the government. So the one thing I do is to sit down with the client and kind of find out where they are financially. I know a lot of individuals in our profession like to just sell people products, but I think you do a customer or a client disservice when you do that. And so we've been talking over the last like 4 or 5 months, really just trying to find out what her goals are. What is she trying to do with the money that she has? She has about $250,000 that she's going to be investing. So what are your dreams? What are your goals? You're not able, it's IRA money. So if you start taking money out right now, you're going to be penalized. So we have to come up with a plan. So we have to sit down with them, find out again what their dreams, their goals, aspirations are, and then we sit down and come up with a blueprint on how to help them to achieve that, so that they're not doing the wrong thing with their money.
I like the blueprints word. And a lot of people assume that to talk to someone like yourself, a licensed financial professional, they've got to have a lot of money and they've got to pay something just to talk to you.
So it depends on the client, and usually our initial consultation is free, right? But if you decide to go into financial planning per se, there's a cost for that. But to just sit down and have a conversation with us, there's no cost to it.
And how do people get in touch with you? I mean, explain how we work, how D-Free works with Prudential, and how do you find our people and our people find you?
We've partnered on a lot of different events with one another, and that's one of the ways we've been able to help those individuals that come through with D-Free. I've been with you in Atlanta, Washington, D.C. So wherever you are, I am. And with that, just having those conversations with those individuals, and because I think you trust me, when you find an individual that needs the services that we offer, you refer them over.
So. Yeah, Amber, we got to get you out on the road and join us when we go to these various events.
Great, let's do it.
Regina, I made a statement one time, and the people who were filming me almost dropped the camera. I said, you don't have to die to benefit from your life insurance policy if you have a certain kind of policy. Would you please explain what I was talking about?
And that is true. So there are cash accumulating life insurance policies where if you overfund them, meaning that you put more money into them than what the premium calls for, that you can accumulate cash in those policies, and individuals use them to supplement their retirement. They use them if they need additional cash to pay for college tuition for their children. It's available for that. If your roof, if you need a roof on your home and you don't have cash in the bank, you could access your life insurance policy to be able to cover those needs.
Great.
So, yeah.
I used one of my life insurance policies to pay a good chunk of my son's college tuition. So that's where I got the experience from, but you explained it much better than I. So Reverend Sutton, what kind of questions do we regularly received from our people, either live events or online, as it relates to talking to financial professionals?
Well, the first question they always ask is, how much do you need to get started? What do I need to get started? Can I start with a little? If I don't have a lot of money, if I don't have anything saved, can I get started?
So I say start where you are, right? If you never take the time to invest, your money will never grow. So $25 is better than zero, right? Because 0 times 0 all day is going to equal 0. But if you take and if your budget allows you $25 a month, do that $25 a month until you can afford to do some more, and then over time we'll increase it.
Great.
Excellent. Another question they ask is, if they come into a big lump sum of money, what do they do with it? Just come to you? Or how does that work?
First of all, don't put your information on Facebook and don't tell your families until you sit down and talk with somebody, because you won't have any money. Okay. But I would say you do want to speak with a financial professional so that you would know the right things to do. A lot of times we say we're just going to take a lump sum and pay off something or buy something. I just had a young lady, her mother passed away. I mean, this wasn't a lot of money per se, but one of the things she wanted to do was to go buy some $800 Gucci shoes. And I'm like, no, ma'am. I told her to call me after my birthday, after the end of this month, and we'll have a conversation and I'll let her know whether or not she can take some of her money and buy some Gucci shoes. But you want to sit down and talk with somebody, because a lot of times we just take it and we waste it because it was money that we never had. And when you don't name your money, you're more apt to spend it a lot quicker than if you gear it towards something specific. So yes, sit down, talk with a professional, and find out what you need to do that's going to be best suited for you and your family and the dreams that you have for yourself.
Excellent. Excellent. Then people want to know specifically what the title or what type of life insurance can garner them money. Is it called something? They often ask that as well.
So there are universal policies. You have your index universal life policies and then the variable universal life policies. So depending on what you're trying to do would determine which policy you would choose.
Yeah, what it's not called is term life insurance.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's not called. Term life insurance is not that kind of policy, but the universal policies do exactly what Regina described.
They also ask whether or not you all handle both short-term and long-term goals, or once they get in and they start investing with Prudential, is it going to make them lock in for a long time, or will they see immediate returns?
Nothing is immediate, right? And I think we have that mindset that if I put in, because I used to have a client that he was putting in $50 a month, and every year he would say, "Am I at the $1 million?" And I had to tell him, "Sir, I apologize. I'm going to tell you now, no, it's not going to happen. You have to come off more money to do that, right?" But over time, the compounding of the dollar will yield you something. We just have to be patient. We are very impatient individuals. So with that, we expect that the money is going to flip over in 2-3 days. That's not how it happens.
Yeah, the problem we have, especially in light of social media giving visibility and platforms to so many different schemes, many of us have been confused by people who promote trading as though it's investing.
Yes.
And so you'll have people that will buy a stock in the morning and sell it that afternoon and make a profit and offer to teach you how to do that. That's trading. Trading is typically the short term, whether it's stock or real estate, where you're flipping houses, where you buy a house now and you sell it in 6 months. Investing is necessarily longer term. So you invest for the long term. And if you have the means and the stomach and the heart for trading, then you can look for short-term opportunities, but investing should be considered long-term. Listen, ladies, I kept you longer than I asked you to stay. I knew you'd stay. So I figured if I asked you for 5 minutes, you stay for 15. But I'm not going to keep you too long because you'll never come back. But I want to thank you because Reverend Sutton and I stress all the time, talk to a professional, speak to a debt counselor, make sure you talk to someone who's licensed. And it's not always true that people understand what's going to happen when they get into that session and when they connect with those people. And I think you've made it very clear. Reverend Sutton, is there anything they didn't make clear that we need to make clear before they go?
Just a quick question for Regina about the insurance. They want to know whether or not it is okay to take a loan to start a business against your life insurance policy. I know they were talking about the money that you can do for education and the money you can do for different things, but is it good to do that or to pay off debt?
So is it good to pay off debt or to take the loan out? Because you can take the loan out on your life insurance policy for anything that you want to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's no limit. Okay, there's no limit. And then also whether or not we should do that to pay off debt. Like if you got into that.
So if your interest rate is higher than what the interest rate is on the loan and the life insurance policy, it would make sense, right? But I would sit down with a financial professional and allow them to look at everything before you just go and do it. Because there are some consequences if you don't pay the premium, or if you, so say for instance, if you do take out a loan, you stop paying premium payments, that loan, and you don't pay the loan on that policy, that loan will grow on that policy. And at some point it will cause that policy to lapse, which then now you find yourself in a tax situation that you may not want to be in.
Right. Right.
That's excellent. And I'm so glad they put on the screen, the way to get into contact with our financial professional is to visit dfree.com/get help. That'll link you right to our financial professionals at Prudential. So that's dfree.com/get help.
Thank you. Ladies, thank you so much for staying longer than I invited you to stay. But more importantly, thank you for answering those questions, because we have a lot of people who are on this call who are here because they want to help other people. And you're arming them with the tools they need to help other people. And you're helping them understand why we're so passionate about connecting people to you. So thank you so much, ladies. Reverend Walker. Why I want to call you Reverend. Regina, I'll see you in 2 weeks. And Amber, hopefully within 2 weeks, Aubrey will get us together, because I really want to talk to you and your team about this special project. Okay?
Yes. We'll look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. See you soon.
Good to see you. Yes.
So, Reverend Sutton, this is so exciting, because when we started D-Free 20 years ago, we decided we were not going to sell products other than our books and our content. We were not going to become an insurance company. We were not going to do debt settlement ourselves, even though we could make a lot of money. We decided that we wanted to be an honest broker, meaning that we have no self-interest, no financial interest in referring people to our partners, because we wanted to have total integrity and not have an vested interest in what people do with the information that we provide them. And these two partners are not the only partners, but they're our oldest partners. They are the ones that we have never gotten a complaint about, ever. In 14 years, we've never gotten a complaint about Prudential or their partners, because, as I said, folks, when we refer you to Prudential, you may actually hear from a Wells Fargo professional, a JP Morgan Chase professional, because Prudential is so big that other companies literally sell their products and work in partnership with them, which is something we have to learn how to do, work together. We've never had a complaint. We've never had a complaint about GreenPath. However, I will say this. The complaint we've had about Prudential or GreenPath has been when we send them a name and it takes them too long to follow up. For whatever reason, not because they're bad people, but it slipped between the cracks. They weren't set up to handle as much work as we've sent them. They've never had this kind of relationship before. So what we do now, the reason you go to dfree.com/get help, what we do is we keep track of everybody we send them. And then what we will do is follow up with our people to see if Prudential or GreenPath has worked with you, and if you've heard with somebody. We've had to start doing that, because we had a few instances when people said, okay, you sent me to Prudential, I never heard from them. Yes. Or I called GreenPath, no one ever called me back. So we monitor that, we manage that. In fact, the same team that's managing this Zoom meeting is the team that keeps the records and calls you to follow up to make sure we send you to somebody who not only treats you right, but someone who follows up. And you should know that. All right. So Reverend, now all of your people are asking questions and saying things. What I want to do is address the questions that they did not address, because we promised them that they would not do counseling. We promised them that they would describe it, but I will answer questions in with the kind of D-free answers that we give if we were just talking to people at an event or one-on-one.
Yes, I just want to add something to what you said about, Amber mentioned the fact that they definitely report back to us. I want everybody to know that that's the kind of reporting that we look for, whether or not they were actually able to get in touch with someone. And it's just very high level metrics. It's not so much it's not the details of your situation at all. And so that's really what Dr. Soaries is talking about. But yeah, there are a lot of shout outs in the chat. They want to know if you're coming to Oklahoma. If not, how can we get you to come to Oklahoma? So that's Tulsa.
Yeah. I have a friend who just got to Oklahoma City. He's an AME pastor. What is his name? And I'm talking to him about coming there. And then there's a community organization that's also involved in the D-Free program, and they're in Oklahoma City. So the answer is yes, I'm coming to Oklahoma City. It's not on the schedule yet, but today I spent 2 hours going through my schedule from now until the end of January. And I'm giving my team every available date that I have to do studio work and to do visits to cities. So the answer is yes, Oklahoma City is definitely on the list. Now, Tulsa is also on the list. Tulsa, Reverend Sean something and Sister Onika something. There's a black bookstore in Tulsa, and there's an AME church in Tulsa. And the owner of the bookstore is a member of the AME church. And so she and her pastor are talking together about when we're going to do something in Tulsa.
That's excellent. Now let's get into the meat of some of these questions.
Okay.
Here's a question. What do you do when you paid off your cards and they decide to reward you by decreasing your credit limit, making it look like you were horrible at repayment? What do you do?
Well, a reduction in a credit limit does not necessarily make you look like you're a bad credit risk. I had that happen to me, and I got on my knees and thanked the Lord, because at that time I didn't need a big credit limit because I would have used it. And if you feel that you want more credit for whatever reason, and one good reason to want more credit is so that when you don't use it, your use ratio is smaller and it helps your credit score. Just get another credit card. Yeah. If your credit's good and you've paid and one company reduces you, just get another credit card. So if your credit limit went from 5,000 to 1,000, get another credit card for 5,000.
All right. How do you get help to pay off past IRS debt? And are those companies that say they can help you negotiate your IRS debt legitimate, or should you just talk with the IRS?
I recommend talking directly to the IRS. If it's intimidating beyond your comfort level, talk to Green Path, and they'll do a 3-way call with you to the IRS. There are accounting firms that have a hookup with the IRS. Like my accountant has a special number that he calls to the IRS. It's not just a general 800 number, and their agents assigned to certain accountants. So that's another way to go. And then refinancing your debt, getting a loan to pay off the IRS to get them out of your life is another option. But if you talk to Green Path, they'll help you walk through those options, and you may find that the IRS giving you a payment plan is in fact your best option.
Thank you.
The IRS will also give you what they call an offer in compromise, which means that if you owe $20,000 and it's 5 years old and you offer to pay them $12,000 to get rid of the 20, they often will accept it. I did that back in the day. I did an offer in compromise and paid off all of my debt by paying off an amount that we negotiated.
Excellent. Here's another question. What do you do when you are degreed and have been unemployed since the day after the inauguration?
The January inauguration?
I'm assuming it's the January inauguration, yes.
Yeah, I think that there are so many challenges today for people with education. Number one, the economy is shifting. In my new book, this is not, I'm not saying this because I want you to buy the book, but in the book, I talk about the areas of the economy that are actually growing. We know that because of public policy, Black women have been disproportionately impacted by the budget cuts. So as of last week, 319,000 Black women lost their jobs since the inauguration. But also over 219,000 white men have gotten new jobs. So there are jobs. And often when we do have degrees, we're not looking broadly enough at our options to figure out not just what does our degree qualify us to do, but what is our skill set? What are we able to do that our degrees don't describe? And then does our resume, which is often submitted online, and then you have these robots that are looking for keywords, does our resume really describe not only what we've done, but who we are? Because most of us were trained to do resumes to describe what we've done, when in fact today employers are looking at least as much at not only what we've done, but who we are. What is our personality? What is our character? What are our strengths? Are we people? Are we able to resolve disputes? Are we even tempered? Can we resolve conflicts? And so what we do is we have people on our team that help people by looking at their resumes to make sure their resume is a real reflection of who they are. But I mean, the bottom line is don't give up. If you have a degree, that's great, but it may not be your major that opens up the door to your new opportunity. It may be your personality, your character, your smile, your charisma that really overrides your degree and opens up opportunities in areas you had not thought about. Final thing is think about entrepreneurship. If you have any kind of money, if you have 2 or 3 friends that have some money that you can pull together, think about buying a business. In the book, I talk about 10 areas of small business that we need to think about buying, not just starting a business, but buy an existing business. I have a business that I sold. I sold a business 2 years ago, and I made money, and the person saved money by not having to start a business. So think about buying a business.
Excellent. Speaking of businesses, what would you do if you have a lump sum of money that you need to generate income from your business? My husband and I have invested in marketing, and the needle didn't move at all.
Well, it depends on the kind of business. I am advising someone who has a restaurant in a large city in the South, and I'm helping that person make a transition. And like you, they've been paying someone for marketing and it has not worked. Here's the bottom line for business, whether it's Prudential, which is a $1 trillion company, or the local ice cream store. It's relationships that can form partnerships that matter. We have a 14-year relationship with Prudential, longer than any other external partners, because we formed a relationship. And what I want you to know, I will sell more books because of my relationships than I will through Amazon.com. So what you want to look at is what does your business do, and who can you form a partnership with that will generate revenue without doing marketing? It's people do business with people.
Wow. That's so powerful. People don't think that along those lines. So thank you for the insight. Here's another question. What's the right way to report your income to credit cards when you're self-employed and don't have an annual number yet?
Make it up. That's what I do. I mean, my credit card company will ask me, they'll say, what is your annual income? I said, okay, I just put in a number.
They don't check.
Yeah, tell them what you plan to make.
All right. Work out on faith, manifest it, right? That's what they tell you. Here's another question. So we mentioned this is a GreenPath specific question. Maybe we can answer it. If you utilize GreenPath services, does that payoff information report to credit bureaus as GreenPath, or is it something separate?
No, credit bureaus are only dealing with the person with the Social Security number that they're tracking. And so any help you get from anybody, GreenPath or anybody else, it's not reflected on your credit bureau. But what you do have to be concerned about, and I meant to ask you about this, you have to be concerned about a company, even an organization like GreenPath, that negotiates your debt to be paid off at a lower rate, and then you're taxed on the difference. So for instance, during the mortgage crisis, we helped a lot of homeowners. They might have owed $300,000 on a house, and the mortgage company settled for $250,000. But then they sent them a $50,000 W-2 as though they had earned that money, and they had to pay taxes on what they negotiated down. So you have to be careful about that, and be careful to ask GreenPath or anyone else that's helping you that question.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. So I think this question may be NACA, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is GreenPath similar to NAPA, NAPA? Or is it?
You mean NACA, NACA?
Yeah, I think that's what she meant, Princess. Can you let us know if that's what you meant? NACA, NACA?
NACA is the organization that helps people, low-income people, buy houses, become homeowners. And NACA has a relationship with certain banks that provide mortgages. Even if your credit score is a bit lower, you can provide a much smaller down payment than you would if you didn't come through NACA. They give you homeowner counseling, and it's helped a lot of people, thousands of people. They're very, very big in Newark. The mayor of Newark, who is, I think, one of the most progressive mayors in the country, he literally, as the mayor, brought NACA into the city and helped get them set up, because he's trying to help more Newark residents become homeowners. But if you're talking about NACA, NACA, it's based in Boston, and it's focused exclusively on helping people become homeowners, which in turn includes helping them resolve credit, helping them increase their credit score, teaching them financial literacy and the like.
Excellent. Let's see what else is here.
NACA is the valley where they make all the wine. So I'm not an expert on that.
You're not an expert on that. We want to make sure we're not in Napa Valley. So another person has, this might be a question for our team. Will we be able to access this video after tonight? Will it live on YouTube, guys? Can you let them know? Someone had to drop off, so they want to make sure. Okay, here we go.
The answer is yes.
Yes, free access to all in our D-Free community, which you're going to learn more about next week. dfreecommunity.com. So you want to make sure you look at dfreecommunity.com. Let me check the time real quick.
And we do have a YouTube page, and on our YouTube page, we have numerous videos. And one of the reasons we're doing this celebration this month, the way we're doing it, is to make sure people know about all of the resources that we provide. I said this on one of my videos, Reverend Sutton. We were at the Delta Sigma Theta convention this summer, and a woman thanked me so much for the book, and her chapter had worked through the workbook, but they didn't know about anything else. They didn't know about our webinars. They didn't know about you. They didn't know about our YouTube page. So we're spending much more time now this month and the rest of this year making sure that the troops know where the weapons are, and the troops know where the resources are. And that's why I'm so honored and humbled to see so many people on tonight. You were on last week, and we just want to make sure you spread the word. Don't keep it to yourself. And what we do for free. We don't charge for events. We started charging, of course, for books and workbooks and that kind of thing. But we're not in this. We got to pay our bills, but we're not trying to get rich off of you.
Right now, well, we want to shout out our Delta friends that are in the chat. I see Royetta Fulgrim. Hello from California. She's in the chat. I also see a Zeta friend in the chat. Asha Kelly. Hello from Zeta Sigma Zeta chapter. Let me see who else is out there. Just to make sure we say hello to our friends. Since you name dropped, we got to make sure we say hello to them. If there are any other Deltas or Zetas there, please let us know you're here, or any other Divine Nine. We want to hear from you as well.
If there's any Phi Beta Sigma, I got to call them out. They've been too kind.
Every chance you get. Anybody from Phi Beta Sigma. Yeah. Okay. So let me see. What is the name of the D-Free organization here in Oklahoma? Princess,
we don't have an organization. We work through partners. And so we're not trying to set up an organization that comes to town. We work with churches and Divine Nine organizations. I can't remember the name of the church in Oklahoma City, but I'll make sure you know. But Anika Caesar is the owner of the bookstore in Tulsa. And her pastor's first name is Sean. I can't remember Sean's last name. So when I come to Tulsa, I'll be coming under their leadership, but we'll be inviting everybody that we know.
Yes, we're going to make sure everybody knows when Dr. Soaries is in town. Jody M., you won't be able to be here next week, but yes, it will also be available for replay on our dfreecommunity.com. So yes, we will definitely be there. Sorry, we're going to miss you next week, Jody. I think that was it for the questions. Are there any more? We've only got a couple minutes left.
Okay.
But if you look in the chat, you can always schedule a free consultation with a financial professional. You can get that at dfree.com/get help. Also, if you want to get in touch with GreenPath, we've given you the way to do that. We're going to run that again in the chat. We want to make sure that you can request a free counseling from them at www.greenpath.com and get a quote for D-Free. You can call that 800-550-1961. Dr. Soaries, you want to tell them what to expect next week?
Yeah, next week is so big because we've been working on new stuff. We've been working on new content. We've been working on a new website. We've been working on a new online community. We've been working on enhancing a $1 billion challenge platform. And next week, we're going to really walk you through all 4 of those resources. And the people that have been doing the work are going to do the explaining. And so next week is so big. It costs too much money to fly around and meet with everybody in person. But you know what? One of the things COVID did was COVID convinced all of us that online is okay. So next week we're going over D-Free digital resources. You'll meet some of our team members that you don't typically meet, and you'll see the new resources that are going up on our new website. We got a brand new website that's going up. I think it goes up next week, right? Yeah, next week. So join us next week. If you're here this week, you can't make it next week. Make sure you watch the video, because if you take that plus the facilitated training, you'll be fully equipped to bring D-Free resources to your community and to your network, to your family, and use all of them effectively. You're not in this alone. And that's what next week is going to show you.
Yes, we are excited about next week. So make sure you come back. Same station, same channel, well, same bat channel. I'm telling my age now. But yes, we're going to shout out New Hope, East Orange. Hello. They're on here as well. I see them popping
Hey,
in.
New Hope. Yeah.
See you. Yes, yes, yes. And thank you everybody for coming out tonight. There's someone here. Thank you, Deidre Dyer. We want to thank you because she says she wants to donate a little something monthly to a good cause. She wants some direction on that.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm glad. Thank you for reminding me. We have a foundation, and if you go to dfreefoundation.org, if you go to dfree.com, there's a tab for the D-Free Foundation, and the foundation does 5 things. We do work, community development work in Africa. We do FinFest. We give away tons of free books and free materials to prisons and young people and people that can't afford it. And then the foundation also works with community-wide efforts like the North Women Moving Forward. And a little something would really help us, especially in Africa. We're building wells for clean water in Uganda. We're doing work in Ghana, of course, in South Africa. So that would be wonderful if you'll give to the foundation, because every penny goes to a project that the foundation raises.
Absolutely. Thank you for reminding us about dfreefoundation.org. That's where you can go to give, and we encourage donations, and they're tax deductible. So we want to make sure that you do that. So thank you very, very much. Dr. Soaries, once again, thank you for your time, and thank you for donning your wonderful lavender vest for us tonight. We appreciate you.
I'm glad the Lord spoke to you about my vest, because the devil had you in his grips on Saturday, but you've been delivered. You've been delivered. So thank you so much.
Make sure you pick up your copy of Say Yes to No Debt. Again, this is the 2nd edition, hot off the presses. We also have workbooks available. There's also a kit with a notebook for you. You want to take, we have a community-based version as well as a faith-based version. So we want to share those with you. Dr. Soaries, the workbooks are in and they're exciting. So really nice.
I want to apologize. Some people bought workbooks and they were delayed. They were delayed in production. But we now have workbooks, and if you ordered a workbook and you waited more than a week, my apologies for that, but it's on the way. And now we have a good supply. Amazon.com has a good supply. Of course, we love for you to buy from us, but if you're an Amazon Prime member and you're paying for delivery and it's free, go there, because we can't afford to send it to you for free, but Amazon Prime people get their deliveries for free. So thank you so much, Reverend Sutton. Thank you for being with me again tonight, and you'll be here next week, according to the staff people that love your energy, and you're already signed up for the week after. So thanks to the staff in Ghana. Our team in Ghana manages this, and it is now after midnight in Ghana. So thank you to Angie and Benny and Josh and everybody else that stays up too late in Ghana. I think Gifty's in bed probably, but the rest of them are working.
Johnson is with us too. Thank you, Johnson.
And Maxine, you're going to see Maxine's work. Maxine's in Canada, and you're going to see the work that she did on the new D-Free Academy next week.
I can't
so excited. I can't
Next week is big. All right.
All right,
Thank you, everyone.